Hi guys, Tired Brain here with a commentary video directly for you. You know, that's if you come here and you're not here for the commentary at this point, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're here. It is a commentary channel. Yeah, but that's just my lame excuse of an intro. So let's go ahead and get on with it. So, today I wanted to talk to you about one of the reasons that DBD seems like an atrociously toxic game, because one of the big things that people love to complain about and worry about, understandably so, is that the game is incredibly toxic, that this game has a lot of toxicity, a lot of people taking things outside of the context of the game, being rude in after chat, being mean even on social medias to each other. This game has a very, very toxic atmosphere. People are really, really mean to each other. And there's a lot of different things that cause this, and you know, if you've played video games for a long time, like any sort of game that pits one side against the other is going to have a lot of toxicity in it. Like that's not like not a new thing, and it never will be a new thing. That's going to probably exist in the entire time that video games do exist, and will continue until video games die, if that ever happens. I don't think that'll ever happen, but that's going to continue until video games die. But some video games don't really have as much toxicity compared to others, but DBD seems to have a very big cesspool of people who are willing to be terrible and mean to each other for whatever reason. And I'm going to point out one of those reasons to you today. Okay, so I have pulled up my friendly Steam charts. I check this every so often. This shows the ongoing analysis of Steam's concurrent players, so how many people are playing what game at what time, how many players are currently on the game, you know, hours played, peak players. So it shows you a lot of interesting data on what's being played on Steam right now. So for the purpose of today's argument, we're going to be only looking at Steam. But if you just take a look, Dota 2's number 1. CSGO is number 2. These swap sometimes. Sometimes these two swap. The new Halo's doing really, really well. New World, big, brand new MMO. TF2 has always been popular. But Dead by Daylight is down here. Where's Dead by Daylight? Dead by Daylight is down here at 17th. Yikes. Dead by Daylight usually sits around 9, here where Battlefield 2042 is. Sometimes they go up to 10, sometimes they go down to 8. But usually they sit around the 9. The reason, and this is just conjecture, I can't prove this, I guess, but Dead by Daylight has seen a huge slip in its current player base because of the whole DDoS situation. So people don't feel safe playing the game, and as of right now, they haven't really said that they have fixed it or they have found a fix for it or implemented anything. So people are still scared to play the game. So they have slipped all the way down from their usual 9th place to 17th place. So they've fallen like really, really far behind in terms of their players. But my point being, to tie this all around, is 17th a multiplayer game? 17th compared to all, and I mean all of the games on Steam. Ark, it has more players. Final Fantasy 14 has more players. Rocket League has more players. Rainbow Six, it has more players than Rainbow Six. So when you're into this situation, when you're top 20 most played games on Steam, you are literally the top 20 most played games on Steam, and it's a versus game, so people are against each other, it's just going to be more often that you run into toxic players because there are quite literally more players playing the game. So we get it in our heads that like DBD is more toxic than a lot of games. Like it's worse than this game, it's worse than that game. But you also got to understand that Dead by Daylight is also an incredibly popular game that is literally the 17th highest, 17th most played game on Steam, period. So, like, at its peak, it has almost 100,000 people playing at any given point. Like, that's a lot of people, friendo. That's a lot. That's a huge pool of human beings. And some of those human beings are nice. But, you know, on average, if there's more people, on average, you're more often to run into people who are rude, mean, inconsiderate, and gross. If your game is doing this well, if your game is this popular, when you have more players, it's just more likely you're going to run into mean and terrible people. There's just no two ways about it. So I feel like a lot of our like, wow, Dead by Daylight is one of the most toxic games ever, is kind of overblown, because DBD by ratio probably isn't the most toxic game of all time, right? Because like down here, Rainbow Six, who is almost 10 behind them in terms of the charts, has way less players and is way more toxic. Like, I would say Rainbow Six is legitimately a toxic game, you know? Dead by Daylight, I think a certain extent of it It's just the fact that there are just a lot of people that play DBD, and you're just going to so happen, because there's a lot of people to pull from, run into mean people more often. So there's no way to like break down a ratio, you know, because there's no way to identify a toxic person, and people have different opinions of what like a toxic person means. Somebody would say like pressing the crouch button on accident once means that they were teabagging and they're toxic. Other people are like, yeah, that guy, he gave me a death threat in after chat, but you know, back in the day, you know, COD players used to do that, so that's okay. Like, people have different definitions of that, so there's no way to like quantify that. But I can bet you, if we could, the ratio would not be that high compared to the amount of players there are. It's just that there's a lot of them, so you know, it's more likely we're gonna run into them. But yeah, that's it. That's a pretty simple video. I just wanted to explain that, like, you know, maybe stop overblowing the whole like everybody in DBD is toxic thing. Maybe just understand that like DBD isn't a toxic game, but maybe it's just a popular game, so therefore there are more people who can be toxic that are in the game's population pool, since the population is high that plays this game. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you do the like. If you want to stick around and do more or watch more of these wonderful daily uploads, make sure you hit the subscribe or Roni button so they actually show up on your homepage. Other than that, anything else for you, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you. If I don't see you in the next video, I'll see you when I see you, buds. Bye bye.